Hello! I've never actually vlogged a readathon before that wasn't my 24-hour one that was done in a day, so this is quite interesting for me. It is currently, what date is it? I should have checked. How do I find out the date? It is currently the 25th of April, and this is the Mental Healthathon vlog. Now this runs for the entire month of May, so I'm just going to do it week by week and basically just let you know what books I read within the theme. I'll see, hopefully I actually read some a week because I'm also doing another readathon at the same time, so I'll see how I'm doing. But it is the 25th of April and obviously the readathon has not actually started yet, but because of limited availability on ebooks from my library, I ended up borrowing one of my TBR from the library now, because otherwise I wasn't going to get it, and I thought, well, I do want to read it, so I'd rather do it now than try and stick within the time limit and not do it. So I took out Beartown from my local library and I read the book. Beartown is basically a story of an entire community that love hockey. They love the sport, ice hockey, isn't it? Yeah, ice hockey. And they absolutely adore the sport. Their life is nothing but the sport, and it follows a community as their star player on the hockey team is accused of raping a young girl. And it's quite a dramatic turn. It starts out very light-hearted. You learn a lot about the characters, just everybody in the community. Like, it spends near enough 200 pages telling you just about these characters and absolutely no plot. Then the rape happens and it follows the entire community as they fall apart and make a decision on who they think is actually to blame. Do they think the girl asked for it, or she's lying about the incident, or do they think that he actually did rape her? And it's a very dramatic story. It's so heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time. It's a complete mix. It's definitely a powerful read. I absolutely loved the story and I thought it was good. It showed so many different dynamics of rape culture and how communities come together to either support somebody or tear them down, because there are some people in the community that would rather believe she is a liar because they don't want their star player of this sport to basically lose his career because of something like this. And there are some people who are so close to the victim or family friends who basically disagree with her. They just side with the sport. And then there are some people who are actually part of the sport, teammates, friends of the actual rapist himself, who side with her. And I thought that was quite an interesting dynamic and quite lovely. I feel like I'm going to talk forever about this book, so I really don't mean to. But I finished the book. I thought it was a wonderful story. It was heartbreaking to experience, but so heartwarming because it showed so much with regards to family and friendship and then bonds between people. And it took a lot of really big issues: rape culture, homophobia, gender stereotypes. It took everything like that and really just analysed it so much from a viewpoint of people. How do people see rape culture? How do people see homophobia? And it really went into an in-depth analysis on that, and it went into an in-depth analysis on all of the characters. Now, I've said in my review of this, which you can check out, I've put in there that I'm not really a big fan of stories with no plot, just stories purely based on character building. I don't mind them, I suppose. I've never really experienced them, so it's not really fair for me to say that I don't like them. But I just tend to need a plot going forward. Otherwise, I just feel as though I'm reading a biography about a person's life, and it's not really that interesting to me. I like a plot to keep things moving forward. But this book was very character focused for the first half of it, and I got to a point personally where I think it was about page 150, and I was like, right, I'm giving it to 200. If a plot has not happened by then, I'm out. And luckily, the plot built up around page 200. It was very lucky that that happened because I carried on and I absolutely loved it. But I think maybe the character description part of it went on just 50 pages too long. And that's really the only negative I have of the story itself. I really praise Frederick Bachman for this. Like, I don't really know the guy. I've never read a book by him before. And his work has been translated. So if a person has translated that, I don't know his name or her name. But props to them for translating. Because honestly, it's taken such a horrible, horrible story and a horrible crime, and it's taken all of that and turned it into something beautiful to read. It's turned a horrible story into a masterpiece where you sit and read it and you are forced to reflect and think, where would I be in this situation? Are people really like this? Do we know what people are capable of? What's wrong with society? And it forces, well, I know it did me, forced us to sit and analyze all of that and think, where are we? What are we doing with our lives? And it was just so powerful, and I loved it. So this was just going to be a quick check-in to say this is where I'm at. I've already started, got one book checked off already. It seems to have turned into quite a long section, so I'm very sorry about that. But yeah, you won't hear anything now from me until, well, probably for in 2 seconds to you. But for me, I won't be recording anything else for this part until really the vlog week, until 1st of May, and my journey begins. And I'm really excited for the Mental Healthathon. So thank you so much to Nicole, Simone and Victoria for doing this, because mental health really needs to be discussed more, and I think I have quite a nice TBR for it. I don't know how many books I'm going to get done during the month. I don't know how many I'm going to feel able to read, but the ones I've chosen, I'm looking forward to them. So I'll probably just see you in a few seconds when this clip finishes and my next one starts. Hi guys, so it is the 1st of May and I've already actually read one book because I read Beartown last week, but I'm just about to start my second book, which is Turtles All the Way Down, and that fits for the prompt of something relating to mental health that I want to learn more about, because I know its features, and I know it features a character with OCD, and it's something I really want to learn more about because I learnt about it briefly during my training, but never actually more extensively than that, and I really want to learn more about it because it's always interested me. So I'm really looking forward to read the book, so I will check in with you when I get a significant portion of the way in. So, just a quick update while I'm getting a drink before I go to bed. I am 4 chapters in, so, not doing too bad. But I'm not really getting too into it. I'm finding it really interesting. I am loving the character of, I don't know how to pronounce the name. I'm pronouncing it Aza. And I'm loving her. I think she's a really, really interesting and good character. I'm really liking her for some reason. We've not really got much into the story yet, but already I'm really feeling her. The story, Turtles All the Way Down, just in case I haven't said already, the story is about this girl, Aza, and she is basically spending the book looking for a missing billionaire. And it follows her friendships and relationships as she does that. And that's really it. Up to now, they've gone to find some footage of the billionaire, and it's explored a lot of her friendship with one of her best friends, Daisy. And I'm really loving the characters. The story itself hasn't really kicked off yet, but I'm really loving the characters. And really, that's all I can say. I'm going to read more tonight before I go to bed, but I don't think I'm going to be doing another update because it's late. I just want to chill out and sleep. So I'll read what I can tonight, I'll continue on tomorrow, and then I will give you an update as and when I have something of importance to say tomorrow. So I will see you later. Good afternoon. I really need to point out that this chair that I'm sat in is the worst chair. Like, it is so... I'm not even holding this right. It's so narrow and literally so uncomfortable. But I always sit in it to read because I can see out of the window and it's quite nice. So I'm really uncomfortable. I sat in the chair this morning and because of how narrow it is, I'm kind of stuck. So I'm just staying here now. Onto the book. I am now officially 100 pages in, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it is. I'm enjoying it. Like, not much has happened in the way of plot, and it's okay. Like, that's all I can say, it's okay. The characters are good. There's not really that much plot. What plot there is, I'm not finding particularly interesting. But I do have to be aware that I am reading it on my phone. That always has a bit of a negative effect because I never know if I'm not enjoying the story as much because of the story or because I'm reading it on my phone, and I don't like that as much as a physical book. So kind of taking the fact that I don't like it with a pinch of salt, because the story itself is good. The characters are absolutely amazing. I absolutely love the characters in the book. I'm just not feeling it. It's kind of it's not bad, but it's not good. That's where I'm at the moment. So I'm going to carry on reading. Hopefully, I do want to finish today, so I'll have to see if I can finish. But I do really want to, because it would be great to get it done today. I do have a quiz in 4 hours, so I don't know if I can get it done in 4 hours, but if I can get as much done in the next 4 hours, I can then finish it off tonight while I'm in bed. So I'll check in with you just before I do the quiz and let you know where I get up to. Nothing new really to update, but I'm just starting to get to a point where the character of Daisy is really starting to annoy me now. Like, she's just doing unnecessary things despite being told not to, because they don't want to draw unnecessary attention. All she had to do was not do anything for about 6 months, which really not that big of an ask, but no, she had to go and do it, and she's just going to be one of those muppets that I just can't stand. So I'm hoping she gets better, because quite frankly, I cannot deal with Asa putting up with her for a long time now. Like, I think I'm just about halfway through the book, so it will stress me out if she continues to be like this. So that's literally all I have to say. She's annoying me, but I am enjoying the book still. Good morning. So, first off, I want to apologise for the shaky camera while I'm walking. I actually forgot to update you last night before I got ready for my fancy dress quiz night. Basically, I just kept reading right up until the last minute and then had a big panic about making sure I was in costume on time. I will enter a clip of myself in character and a picture of the costume fully after I finish this. So, just to update you, I have got 50 pages left of the book and I'm actually really enjoying it. I love the character of Asa. I think it's given me such an insight into managing and coping with OCD and anxiety, and it fits the prompt of something that I wanted to learn more about, which was OCD, because as I've said, it was something that we kind of spoke about in training but just kind of glanced over a bit, so I really wanted to learn more about it, and this book has given me such an insight. And initially I said that the plot wasn't really moving forward that much, but I've kind of come to realise the story isn't about the plot is just there. The plot's just there really to continue the story and give us the ability to learn more about the characters. It's very character focused and I am really enjoying it. I'm not sure what I'm going to rate it as yet. Like, part of me is thinking 3-star because that really suits where I'm at with it, but there's also a part of me thinking 4-star because it's not about the plot, and my main issue with it is that the plot isn't grabbing me. It's just all character focused. So I'm going to have a think. I'll see by the time I finish the book
I said before Daisy was starting to get on my nerves, and she still is, but at the same time, I understand why she's feeling certain ways. Like, I understand Aza's point of view, but being the friend of somebody with something so... what's the word? But being a friend or family member of somebody with a condition so debilitating, is that a word? I'm going to use it as a word. And so restricting. I can understand the frustration and the lack of patience and anger, because it just comes from a lack of knowledge about where they're really at, and I didn't know anything about it. So reading this book, it has really opened my eyes to how a person with OCD feels all the time. I'm so tired. It's literally 9 a.m. I've been up since 7 and I'm really tired, and now I'm going home. So yeah, just a quick check in there. I will put the clip of my fancy dress costume in next. And I'll let you know when I finish the book, because I don't have long left, so I'll be finishing that today easily. And then I can move on to my next book, which is going to be A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which is not one of my mental healthathon prompts, so I won't really be talking about that. Sorry, there's cars going past, so I'm trying to time what I say in between the cars. So yeah, I won't really be talking about that in this vlog, but just to let you know, that's what I'm doing, because I'm taking a break from reading mental health related books. So I will check in once I've finished the book.
What is it? What do you want? My God, you've gotten fat. No capes. I know I said I'd update you when I'd finished the book, but I've just got to the part where you realise why the book is called Turtles All the Way Down, and that felt very anticlimactic. It's so weird. Like, I get it, but like, it's not that important to the story, so why would you name it that? Why would you name the book that after that? That was really confusing. That is all. So I finished Turtles All the Way Down. I really enjoyed the story. Like, I've spent now about 20 minutes since finishing it trying to decide on how I want to rate the book, because I've gone through the entire book thinking I wanted it to be a 3-star, because I'm a very specific type of reader. I don't do character driven books, and I don't really do plot driven books. I need to have a good balance, otherwise the story always really misses something for me. And I know this book was very character driven, so I initially thought, well, that's probably going to lose it a high rating. But the characters were so well developed, and it gave me such an insight into the life of somebody with OCD that I absolutely loved it. So then I considered giving it a higher rating because of that. But getting to the end, they seem to have this storyline going through it about her searching for this billionaire. I don't really know why that story was in there. Like, the story was obviously written with the intention of teaching people about OCD. I think that was clearly what the main point of the novel was. And this storyline might have just been in there really just to give them something to advance the plot, and it wasn't really that important. But I really found that story interesting, and when we got to the end of the book, I was really upset because I felt as though that story was kind of underdeveloped, and I wish maybe Aza's story and about her life and her experiences with OCD were a separate book altogether to this missing billionaire story, because I really liked the missing billionaire story, and I think how it played out was really interesting, but I kind of wanted to see more of the narrative. So it was really confusing for me to rate. In the end, I gave it a 3-star, just because I think whilst I loved a lot of things, it bothered me a bit that the narrative wasn't
continual because I kind of felt like, well, I'm getting a bit bored reading this now. And then also the fact that the plot kind of got interesting right at the end, and then I felt it was really underdeveloped. But overall, I really did enjoy the story, and it was really difficult for me to rate. In the end, it had to come down to deciding between a 3 star and a 4 star, and I sat myself down and said, realistically, would I read the story again? And I think, despite how much I loved the information it gave me and how much I loved what I learned from it, I don't think it's a book I'd read again. And really, it comes down to me when I'm stuck between a 3 and a 4. If I think I would potentially read this book again, I would give it a 4 star because I'd really only reread 4 star or above. And I just don't think I'd want to read this again. I loved this experience. I thought it was so interesting. I learned so much, and it really took me on a journey to understand this character more. But I think now I've done that, and I'm glad I've done that. I just want to close the book on it. And that's it now. I want to remember it this way, and I don't want to reread it. I may feel differently in the future because I always say this when it comes to reading things via ebook. I don't like ebooks, so it gets so confusing for me because if I like a book but I'm like, it's only okay, I think, well, would it be better if I had it in a print book? Because I get so bored of ebooks very quickly. And whilst I don't really think I found this story boring, the fact that the ebook format was there might have made me enjoy it less. So when it comes to ebooks, I always kind of take any dislikes I have with a bit of a pinch of salt. So I would, to be honest, consider rereading it just in a print format, but not because I liked the story, just because of the format it was in. So if I ever did reread this, it'd be interesting to see how my thoughts changed. But final thoughts, absolutely loved the character of Aza. It gave me such an insight, this entire story, into a person with OCD. It hurt me to read. It was so emotional, but a good emotional. Like, it was one of those that even though you're experiencing something really upsetting and overwhelming to read, because you was learning something so important about the character and because you was learning a lot about it, it made the negative feelings surrounding it not that negative. It was kind of a good negative. I mean, that makes no sense, but to me, that's how I feel. Like, it was very bittersweet. Like, I was so glad I read it. I'm so glad I learned things, but it was a bit painful to get there. But I really loved it. So that is probably no help to you at all when I try and describe what I want to say, because I don't really know myself. I am really confused about it. But I gave it a 3 star. I'm sticking with a 3 star. And now I'm going to move on to my next book, which is not mental healthathon related, so I won't really talk about it in this vlog. I'm just letting you know that I'm reading it, and I'm reading A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I'm reading this as a buddy read with paperback to hardback, and then me, Jade, and Brooke from Brooke's Books are going to be reading the sequel as soon as we've finished. So I'm taking a bit of a break from the mental health related ones because I didn't want to burden myself with so many so quickly. Like, I've got all month, I'm just going to take it slow. You know, there's 8 books. I don't know if I'll get to them all, but there are 8 books. I can take it quite slow. And I have done. I've actually done 2 of the prompts already. So that is 2 of them ticked off. I have done a book I want to learn more about with Turtles All the Way Down, and I did a book with green on the cover with Beartown. So I'm quite proud of myself for that. So yeah, I'm just going to start this one now and take a bit of a break from mental health reading, which I think is definitely needed. And then hopefully after I've read this, I'm definitely going to be back in the mind space after a bit of a thriller. So it'd be quite interesting, and I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, I'm really happy. So what I'm going to do after I've read this, I will let you know what book I'm going to read next, because I don't actually know. I'm basically just going to pick it up as and when I feel like it. I do still have quite a few. Actually, I've now officially changed my mind just after explaining my feelings to my friend. I have decided to give Turtles All the Way Down a 3.5 rating. Like Goodreads official, it's 3-star, but the book is not bad. I don't think it deserves a 3-star. For me, a 3-star is, I didn't hate it, but I didn't rate it. And I rated this book. I thought it was really good. But 4-star for me is absolutely loved it. Just had a couple of issues. Would totally read again. And I'm not sure it fits into that category. So 3.5 still seems a bit low. I'd give it like a 3.75 or a 3.9. But that's just going to make life really confusing. So I'm going to say 3.5. Well, that's it. Sorry about that.
Hi guys, so I just wanted to give a quick update on where I'm at. I haven't started a new mental health book yet. I'm currently reading Good Girl, Bad Blood, but I have gone to check out some ebooks online from my library for the mental healthathon, and there's basically such a lack of availability, so I decided to change up my prompts because there's no way I'm going to achieve them. I've already said I'm not putting pressure on myself to achieve all of them, but I thought, considering I now know that I can't do this, maybe what I'll do instead is double up on prompts and see how I do. So originally I had the newest book on my TBR as The Stranger on the Bridge by Johnny Benjamin, which was also Nicole's host pick for the month. I tried it once, DNF'd it, and now it's not actually available until June. So I decided to switch that one out with the group book, which is The Million Pieces of Neena Gill. I just thought if I switched that out with a book and basically use the one book for the 2 prompts, I could still hit the 2 prompts with just make it a lot easier. So I've decided to do that. So my prompt, so my book for the prompt of newest book on my TBR will now be The Million Pieces of Neena Gill, and I'm actually quite excited to read that. I'm hopefully going to be starting that soon. That'll be the next mental health book I start, I think. And then also I tried to get Eleanor Olyphantis Completely Fine, which is the book I chose for the host pick, and that isn't available until August. So I had no chance. Even if people return the books, there was no way I'd get it before the end of the month. So I thought I'd switch that one out. Obviously Stranger on the Bridge is also not available, so I thought I'd switch that one out for a book I've already read, and that was Victoria's host pick, and that is Turtles All the Way Down. So of the 8, there is a good chance I can now hit all 8 because I'm doubling up on a couple of books. I have currently read 2 of the 8. I'm hopefully starting the 3rd. Wait, is that right? 2 of the 8. I've read 2 books, but it's 3 prompts crossed off because Turtles All the Way Down counts as learn more about and host pick. So that's 3 prompts ticked off with 2 books. Hopefully A Million Pieces of Neena Gill will be next, which will take me to 5 prompts ticked off with the 3 books. And then I also have the rest of them to complete. I just wanted to give that quick update because I know that there's no possible way for me to complete the bingo board because I don't have the books, and I didn't want to put the pressure on myself to find new ones because I already have a lot of books already on my TBR this month. So I just thought I'd double up and take it from there. So that is it from me. I will let you know what book I officially decide to start once I finish Good Girl, Bad Blood. I do need to read The Million Pieces of Neena Gill very soon because that book does need to be returned very soon. But I also may pick up an additional book alongside it. Whether that will be a mental healthathon related book or whether that will just be an additional book, we will see when I get round to it. Okay, so I will check in with you to give you my final book choice.
I'm back again.
When I get round to it.
So, when I tell you that I will check in with you next time when I do something, don't expect me to actually do that, because it turns out I just check in with you as and when something pops up. So what is popping up now is that basically I have just finished reading Good Girl Bad Blood, which is not a part of this, but I have just finished reading it. I've had quite a heavy few reading days. In the space of 2 days I've finished Turtles All the Way Down, Good Girl's Guide to Murder and Good Girl's Bad Blood. So I was in the space of 3 days, I finished those 3 books, and I'm not feeling burnt out, but I'm feeling like I need to have a rest. So what I've decided to do, because I am working from 3 o'clock till 6 today, and the time, I finished this book round about, it's 1:30 now. I finished this book round about 1 o'clock. So between 1 and 3, I just basically told myself to take a break. You finished the book, you're doing well. This month you have read 3 books in 5 days. So I'm spending the next couple of hours just catching up on YouTube videos, because I now have a watch later list of 61 videos, which I'm not best pleased about. So I'm just spending the next 2 hours chilling out, reading the books. And the reason I'm telling you this, I thought it'd just be random for me to just pop up, is because this is going to tick off my self-care in my bingo box, which is right in the middle. So I decided to just do this because I needed a break. I knew I needed a break. I can feel it. Plus, if I'm going to do work a bit later on, I kind of want to have a bit of a chilled out rest. And the next book I'm going to be picking up is a mental healthathon one, and that's not really a chill book. So I decided to just take a break, chill, do work, and then start the next book a bit later on. So I'm going to say it again, I'll check in with you later, but I will, because the next time I will be checking in with you is when I tell you what my next pick is. Final exercise tip. If you see a spider, go for a run. I just did. I don't want to go back in.
I feel like I'm in a bit of a slump at the minute. Not like a reading slump, like I'm all for reading, but like a character slump, because every time I'm reading a book, I'm finding myself really disliking the characters, and there's no specific reason for it. I'm reading them, and I'm either just picking books with really annoying characters, or there's something going on that's making me dislike them. Like at the moment, I'm reading The Million Pieces of Neena Gill, and Neena is doing my head in. Like, she's our main character, I should be liking her, but she's annoying me. Like, she's just so annoying and bratty, and I get she's going through a lot, and I'm empathizing with that, and I'm really feeling the pain she's in, but I feel like she's using that pain and saying, well, this is me now. Anyone that doesn't like it just has to deal with that, and she doesn't realise she's actually hurting other people. Like, I agree maybe her parents are a bit strict, but her parents have also lost a son, and they're grieving, and their daughter's doing all the same things, like going out to parties that their son did when he went missing. Like, he went out to a party and he didn't come home, so she's going out to parties. Obviously, I understand how they are feeling, and she's stressing me out and making me annoyed because she seems to have no empathy for her parents, and there's just no logic to it, and it's just making me really dislike her as a character. Anyway, rant over, sorry about that. I just needed to get that out of my system so I could carry on reading the book.
Good morning. So it's the 7th of May, and last night I checked in with you and said I was just over 100 pages of The Million Pieces of Neena Gill. Now,
I have gotten to page 146, because that is the start of a new chapter. Don't know what chapter, but that's the start of a new chapter. And basically my feelings have started to change. Like, I'm still upset with Neena. I still don't think she's amazing, because I'm not liking how she's hurting the people who care for her. However, I did some evaluating last night, and I came to a realization that for me, Neena represents all of those people in my life who I've seen struggling, who I haven't been able to help. Because I think Neena's response to the grief and to the hurt is it's so common to see. She's basically just living her life. She doesn't realize, she's oblivious to the fact that her life is spiraling out of control. And as a bystander watching that, you know, even in real life, as a bystander watching someone let their life go so out of control, it's hard to watch, because when you care about them and you want to help them and they refuse to accept your help and they lash out at you and they don't see that there is an issue, it's hard as a bystander to just sit and watch, because you realize if you keep trying, you'll just make it worse, because you will make them act so directly opposite to what you want, just out of spite, out of a need to prove that they're okay. And obviously it doesn't work, but you can't just sit back and do nothing. It's a really complex and difficult situation, and I know I've been in that situation myself. As a counsellor, I have seen so many people in that situation, both from Neena's friends' perspective and family's perspective of seeing somebody go through that, and then from Neena's perspective herself. Like, I've seen so many real world examples of that, so I completely get it now. I understand. I'm still not best pleased about it, because I still think it's quite problematic, and I think a main character going through this, it's hard to understand her. It's hard to, as much as I can empathise and understand her, I feel like understand is not the right word, but as a person who is, I suppose, treated like the bystander of the story, it's, you see this character who can easily do something, who can easily change their life, but they have to realise it themselves, and you're just sat there waiting for them to realise it. It is really difficult to experience that, to know the answer and be unable to share that answer. So I'm liking the book more, because now I think I understand where we're at with Neena, because she doesn't know, or she can't see that her life is going downhill.
I've just properly washed my hair, so now all of my hair is gone flat. Look at the fringe. Look how long this bloody fringe is. My God. This better end soon, because I need a haircut. So I've officially finished the Million Pieces of Neena Gill. It was a very mixed book for me. I was not a fan of like the first half, and then the second half was so good. Like, the first half was great. No, the first half was just frustrating and aggravating to me, trying to understand what was happening, and then once I got hold of that, I kind of understood it more and I enjoyed it more. And then the second half of the book was so hard-hitting and so emotional, and I really connected with it, and it was so good. So I really enjoyed the latter half. The only thing that's quite sad for me is the fact that I had to wait until over halfway through to get to that point, which is really sad. Overall, I think I'm going to give the book a 3-star rating, because, like I said, I really enjoyed the latter half, the ending. I really enjoyed the later half of the book, but going through the first half to get to the later half, I did struggle through it, and I had issues with a few things, but I loved some other things, so 3-star rating sounds about right for me. I thought it was great. I loved the message at the end. There is a message at the end from the author of the book, who gives a bit of an insight into her personal life and as to why she wrote the book. And that made it so real. Like, it was real anyway, but it made it even more real because it wasn't just a fictional story. It was a fictional story based on personal experience, and I thought that was just an excellent addition and a good way to end the story. So now I've finished that, I'm going to be taking a break from mental health related books because I do still have a book on my TBR to get to, which is The Store by James Patterson. And I decided, because I'm doing Healthathon and Books for the Brave starting on Monday, it's Friday now, I'm going to just spend the weekend slowly, casually getting through The Store. And then next week, Books for the Brave, I'm going to be reading Don't Tell Mummy and City of Ashes. So Don't Tell Mummy is also a mental healthathon book, so that'll be great. If I can, I'm not sure, I'm going to try and fit Jackie Haha into a Healthathon book. I don't actually know prompts for the Healthathon yet. I'm going into it quite blind. I don't know anything, so that'll be yet another one crossed off, and that'd be really, really good. So yeah, I'm going to be taking a break until at the very latest, well, very earliest Monday. I'm going to start Don't Tell Mummy on Monday, I think. So that'll be really interesting and quite hard hitting. It's a non-fiction. It's about child abuse and then depression as an adult. It's not really something that I read much on, so that'll be very new for me. So I'm looking forward to starting that, but for now, I really enjoyed it. So it's been a very mixed journey. I've had 2 3-star books and a 4-star book. So Mental Healthathon is very good for me. I've not had any books that I've not liked so far. So I'm hoping that continues. So I'll just check in on Monday when I start reading my next Mental Healthathon related book.
She's videoing him, Bruce.
Kai, you ever seen an angry unicorn?